Kyle and Nicole.
You guess which one is which.
Today we're gonna talk about the obsession with the scale. One of our subscribers gave us the idea because she asked us in a comment how many times we weigh ourselves. And that's a really good question because quite often people, no matter what size, whether they have weight to lose or not, can often become obsessed with the scale, with the number on the scale, with how many times they weigh themselves. When I was a teenager, I was very obsessed with the scale. I weighed myself several times a day. Kyle did as well. My parents weighed themselves often as well. And when we first started losing weight, we didn't really weigh ourselves too much because we were still quite embarrassed of how heavy we were.
We knew it was bad, so we just didn't want to see the number.
Yeah.
And that can become an obsession too, even if you're not actually physically stepping on the scale. If you're thinking about your weight number all the time and the scale, it can still be an obsession.
Yeah, and we avoided the scale because we were scared of the number. But the catch-22 with the scale is that you don't want to be obsessed with it, but you also eventually need to be okay with the number that it shows you. And the way that you become okay with it is you have to work your way up to that. When we first started, like we said, we were scared of it. Then we got to when we started losing weight and we were getting comfortable with our weight dropping, we started to weigh ourselves every day. And then eventually it went down to every other day, and then we got down to once a week. But in the summer, the numbers were still mattered. They were still really, really important to us. And if I didn't see a number I liked on the scale, I would get quite frustrated with myself and I would be grumpy all day long. And eventually I worked through that to where now I'm okay with the number on the scale, whether it goes up or down or changes, because I know no matter what the scale says that week, I have done my best. I know that I have eaten clean, I have worked really hard in the gym, I've done all my cardio, I've squeezed my muscles as best as I could when I was working out. So whatever the number says, if it doesn't say a number I want it to say, I just work harder the next week.
And we found when we were having problems with obsessing with the scale, it didn't really matter what the scale said. If we were dieting and we went on, it was never enough weight we lost. And if we were gaining weight, like we said before, we were just like afraid of what it would say because we were so embarrassed. We knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So the key is that it's okay to weigh yourself, but to weigh yourself constantly, it doesn't really do anything for you. It doesn't do anything positive. It doesn't help you lose weight. Becoming obsessed with the number doesn't do anything, especially like Kyle said. Most people who are obsessed with the scale also become obsessed with the number when they're not weighing themselves. In their heads, they're constantly thinking about how much they weigh. And what's most important is actually when we were actually doing it right, even though we were scared of what the number would say, we knew we were losing weight because we felt it in our clothing. The best way to gauge your progress is through the mirror, through how you're looking in the mirror, through how your clothes are fitting. And you can also measure yourself and see how many inches you've lost, but that also can become an obsession as well. Each week we see our progress and then we tweak our food and workouts depending on the number we want to see. So if, for instance, we didn't gain any muscle, then we will look at upping certain things in our diet or reducing the cardio that we're doing because it's obviously too much and our body is not keeping the muscle. So it depends on, where you are, like Kyle said, in your journey, and what you should be focusing on is how you're feeling and focus on the fact that you're just making changes.
Yeah, that's the positive. Stay positive and stick with those positive things versus always worrying about numbers.
Be proud of yourself for eating healthy, for, not eating emotionally, for eating to fuel your body, and for eating something because you enjoy it, not because you want to lose weight and you need to see a different number on the scale. Yes, ideally when you're losing weight, you do want to see a lower number on the scale, but becoming obsessed with it is not going to help you.
And it is motivating, like to see you're working hard and dieting, to see results is really motivating, but it comes to a point where it can become overly,
Yeah,
important.
and you should check in and see where you are, because knowing your number helps with several things. It shows, like, we have a scale that shows us our body fat, our muscle percentage, and our weight. That helps us figure out where we are in our macros and what we need to tweak. Now, we don't track calories and macros throughout the week, but we do have an idea of what we need to hit, and we pretty much eat the same things all week. So we know that depending on what our results are, that's how we go up or down. And so you guys can do that too, or whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and chances are you guys are like us. Most people watching this video are in our boat, where we're not competitive wrestlers. We're not getting on the stage to be bodybuilders. So we don't really need to be weighing ourselves, every day, twice a day, 3 times a day. There's no real, there's no purpose for it.
No. Once a week to check in and see that you're making progress, or that you've stalled and you want to tweak something, that's fine. But to get upset or to have any sort of emotional reaction towards the number on the scale,
it's kind of a sign that you're maybe getting a little bit overly obsessed.
Yeah, so just sort of check yourself if you are getting over emotional because of the number on the scale, or if you're weighing yourself too many times. I would say once a week is fairly a healthy amount to do it. And also, never weighing yourself and being scared of the number, that's also something to work up to a point where you can weigh yourself every once in a while and be okay with the number on the scale. So, is there anything else you have to add?
Just probably people might be concerned with what type of scale we use, and we can show them our scale.
Oh, yes. This is our scale.
Because it's a really good one we found.
It's called Oziri. I think I'm saying that right. And we got it on Amazon Canada, amazon.ca. And it was $50, I believe, before tax and shipping.
And it does body fat, water weight, bone density, all the fancy stuff.
All of that stuff.
That you may or may not need, but it's helpful to have it if you want to know.
Yeah, it's a guide, remember? And we always tell each other that too, if we do have a day where we struggle, because we still do sometimes struggle with the number or whatever. And we just remember, it's a guide and it's there as another tool, but it's not there to make or break anything.
And nothing that the scale tells you should ruin your day or make your day, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point, and that's a great way to end the video. So, if you have any questions or comments, don't forget to leave them below. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because you know what happens when you do. Bye.
Bye.